Ladies and gentlemen, Loki here, back at it again with another YouTube video. Today we have the most controversial Zenless Zone Zero tier list from Prydwen to date. I got some stuff to say about this, so let's get right into it. Not gonna check the changelog too much. The only thing that I will take note of on the changelog is they did mention, because I don't own the character, so I can't necessarily speak on it. So I will take a look at, where is she? There we go. So Evelyn has the expert tag. She's at T0.5 level for the average player. But if you know how to play her, she performs equivalent to Miyabi. According to this tier list, I don't own the character. Obviously, I've tried her in stories, stuff like that, but I haven't really looked into her kit too much, just because I don't own the character and I don't really have an account I can just use her on. So I'll take their word for it. Apparently she's on Miyabi's level. But they do have her with the expert tag, whereas Miyabi's just kind of brain dead. You can quick swap a lot of her stuff, but even still, she sits at T0 performance, even if you play her in a brain dead way. And I don't mean that offensively when I say brain dead. I'm just saying it's fucking brain dead. But yeah, she's T0, right? And then we have Lighter sitting at T0. I agree. There's a lot of fire and ice weak enemies. Obviously he's a stunner, and he makes you do more fire damage, more ice damage. Obviously he's going to be very beneficial, especially you can run him with Evelyn as well to boost her damage. So that's probably another reason why she does sit in T0. All right, everyone's favorite android, Qingyi. She's the eye symbol next to her. She's being watched. Typically, I haven't really seen too many scenarios where the character's being watched and they don't move down. They're probably waiting until Trigger actually fully releases, or we get early access. Well, probably until she fully releases, because the tier list typically doesn't change until the character actually comes out. But yeah, obviously she's going to be the best in slot for Sandby, especially with being able to gain a portion of the stun multiplier damage even while the enemy's not stunned. I've tested her a little bit. She doesn't really stun too fast, but I don't think that's necessarily her goal. I think her goal is to give you a portion of the stun multiplier at all times, while doing aftershock damage, aka just follow-up attack damage, and then stunning while she's not even on field. I don't really think you stay on that character too long, but we will see when all the early access stuff comes out. But yeah, that's why I'm assuming she's being watched. Astra's Astra. She's best in slot support for almost every team in the game. I'm not gonna lie. Caesar's great. Caesar, one thing that she does have over Astra, if you're not using a crit DPS, is she does give you 1,000 attack. It's not 1,200 like Astra, but she also offers this 25% debuff for 30 seconds, and all you have to do is hold square. It's it does eat your assist points or whatever, but just don't spam it. Sandby, I lost my 50-50 on this character, but I said in the early access video that she would debut in 0.5, and I was completely right about that. It makes sense. No one's doing the damage that Miyabi can do. Apparently Miyabi and Evelyn, but I don't own Evelyn to speak on it, so I don't know. I don't think her performance will go up to T0 when Trigger comes out. I think she'll still be in 0.5. Maybe when they get their support, their Obel squad support. If their Obel squad support functions like Astra, but it's also doing aftershock damage as well, and also offering a bunch of stats, then I could see Sandby being T0. But for right now, I don't think that's the case. Bernice, we have made a whole video about Bernice. There's no point in me talking about Bernice. I think Bernice is great. I think she's aged like wine. Can't speak too much on Evelyn. Yanagi. Yanagi's great. She's one of those characters that she's kind of future proof as well, just because of the nature of her kit. As we get more anomaly characters that are going to build up other attributes, being able to re-trigger disorder, and we also don't have like a dedicated disorder support that just like buffs disorder damage. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that in the future. Yeah, Yanagi's insane. One of my favorite teams when I'm not running Miyabi with Yanagi would be like Yanagi, Caesar, Rina, except my Rina's like M2. Extremely solid team. You get a lot of res pin. I ran something crazy today, and it actually on paper works. I ran it on, I think it was on the first stage of Shiyu. It was like Yanagi. Oh, what was it? It was Yanagi, Astra, and Rina, and it was like I was just buffing the crap out of Yanagi, and she was putting up some insane disorder numbers, like 400 or 500k. So yeah, and if Lycaon didn't make the enemy take more ice damage, 25% for 30 seconds, he wouldn't be in 0.5. But he's extremely solid. His rotations are extremely smooth. He's one of the smoothest dodge counters in the game, in my opinion. It's really smooth. I'm not gonna lie though, in the story, using him in a 1v1 was not fun. It was not fun, man, but whatever. Lycaon's great. I'm a big fan of him. I do run Lycaon a lot when I don't have to, like in Deadly Assault, which is why I wish they had a Deadly Assault portion of the tier list. When Yanagi's on the other side, which we did see in this Shiyu, that there's a lot of electric weak enemies, so you are gonna have to split them up. If you're like me and you like running Miyabi with Yanagi, and he's just an incredible teammate for Miyabi, obviously making the enemy take more ice damage and stunning pretty quickly if you know how to use him effectively. Lucy's solid. Lucy's extremely solid, especially at M6. She has her own like aftershock mechanic in a way, with the pigs raining from the sky at M6. Yeah, that's extremely solid. If you haven't built your Lucy, there's a reason she's in 0.5. She's an incredible support, like a free support too. Nicole's great, and apparently we saw in the story, I don't know if she's gonna be a DPS, but we saw Vivian is Ether apparently, and I think in the drip marketing it showed Ether as well, but I saw her proc corruption in the story, so if she's a DPS, Nicole's gonna age like wine, but we will have to see about that. And then here's where things get a little rough. Here's where I gotta talk to Prydwen a little bit. First, one thing I do want to say is, can we stop being lazy? Can we please stop being lazy? Here's what I mean by this. Take a look at Evelyn. It says expert with 2 up arrows, but if we go over to the Weathering Wave section, which got lit up by Saint Tantas, we see expert +1, expert +2. Can we get that same treatment in Zenless Zone 0? I played both games. I don't have a problem with Weathering Waves. I played both games. But can we get the same treatment where we have the up arrow here, and then we have the +1 or +2, so I know how many spots they actually move up if you're playing them optimally? Another thing is Zhuan moving down. So at she has T1 performance, sure, I agree with that, but I think she should have the expert tag. Insert clip here. All right, so I agree with the placement if you're playing the team like this.
You're under arrest. It's no good surrendering. Taking the shot.
All right, we killed before his stun went away, right? But if you're playing a little more optimally,
You following orders. Sure. Face the consequences. In position. Stop resisting. Neat and tidy. An opening. Catch you in the next life. Suppressor K22. Maximum firepower.
That looks completely different than the beginning, right? Most people are just gonna stay onto their stunner until they get the stun, and then they're gonna have like average DPS instead of weaving in debuffs. This you can swap cancel it. You see she's still on field even though I'm on multiple like other characters. That is where the expert tag would come into play. That's where the expert tag for Juyon comes into play. At least give her expert +1. There are many ways to play Juyon, right? Obviously, if you're, a lot of people don't know, if you just hold forward while charge attacking, you skip basic 1-2. As long as you hold charge attack before your basic 1-2 animation, you'll actually skip the basic 1-2 and you go straight into your charge bullets, right? Saving DPS. Again, most people will just play this character. They'll stay on their Qingyi until they stun. They'll debuff with Nicole and they'll just hold square or hold mouse 1. Like there are more intricate ways to play her, and I agree. I definitely agree. If you're playing her at like that base level, then she's T1, sure, but she needs to have the expert tag. Same with Jane. Jane's whole kit involves the passion state. We have that event right now where you can trial Jane. The whole goal of this character is to keep her in the passion state. That's where like most of her damage lies. And don't get me wrong, I am a M6 Piper enjoyer. I love me some M6 Piper. I even made a whole video about how you don't need Jane because Piper at M6 is insane. Piper, Caesar giving her 1,000 attack, or even like Evelyn if you want. Bernice to help you proc disorders because her assault damage isn't going to be as high as Jane's, obviously. At M0, so this is Jane at M0 and then Juyon at M0. I still think they both need the expert tag even at M0. The way I see I've seen a lot of people play Jane, and this is a lot of your favorite content creators too. The way I've seen them play Jane, they play that character absolutely horribly. And this is why her placement is down here. Literally, you never use her skill unless you're trying to get back into the passion state. And if her meter's blue, then you use her skill that'll give you a little meter back into your passion state, right? And that's where you do the heavy attack, the spin. It does a crap ton of assault buildup, as well as her ultimate. Her ultimate to instantly put you back in the passion state. I believe, I don't own the character, but I'm pretty sure it does that. Ultimate. Yeah. Dealing massive damage. Jane enters the passion state when using this skill. Because it says skill, it like confused my brain, but it's the ultimate. Yes. Yeah. Her ultimate puts her back in the passion state. So again, I think Jane needs the expert tag, at least expert +1 if you're playing her optimally, especially because her best in slot team. Okay, here, let's see what they have for her best in slot team actually. Bernice, obviously, and then they have Astra as her #1 best support, but you could totally use Caesar, especially if you don't want to be interrupted. But sure, yeah. You're telling me in this team this is a T1 character? If you're mashing square or mouse 1, sure, but every single one of her attacks does it does physical damage, and it does physical build-up. So as long as you build her correctly, she's still going to perform. So at least give her the expert tag, right? Because she's a 5-star character. Even without her weapon, she's outperforming Piper. Her anomaly crits, for God's sakes. It crits. Like, she doesn't need her weapon to outperform Piper. So moving to the right, we have Coleta and T1. Coleta buffs like chain attack or something, which is just so useless. I still think she stuns pretty well if you invest into her. I recently lost a 50-50 to her. So I did start building her just so I could speak on her more. She's actually pretty solid, but what she does, like buffing the chain attack, it's so useless. I'm not gonna lie. And then obviously apparently her best team is Mono Fire. You could totally use her in a Evelyn team though, but I think I think the lighter's just going to be a significantly better choice. So Pulchra M6 is sitting in T1. That's probably okay. That's probably fine. I think we'll have to see, because Pulchra is essentially going to be who you're going to use if you're not pulling trigger, right? Because you want your buffs regardless, right? Best team is probably going to be Ambi. Right now it's Pulchra, it's going to be Trigger, and then it's going to be Astra. So yeah, but like this is going to be your trigger if you're just pulling Sandby and you don't have enough pulls for trigger. But yeah, I think that's fine. I think Pulchra sitting at T1's fine. Rena moving down to 0.5 at M0. So we're saying Nicole at M6 and Lucy at M6 are better than Rena. I don't know how strong the pen is compared to maybe if her dolls stayed out longer, or if she didn't have energy problems. Yeah, I think that's fine, because I have her Sig. I've actually lost I lost a 75-25 to her Sig again, so I actually have 2 of her Sigs. And then that energy in her Sig goes a long way, so you can just swap to her really quickly, reproc dolls, and then I have M2, so my dolls stay out longer. So I'm a little privileged. So yeah, I would say at M0 she probably is like a lot worse than these 4, honestly. And then we have what some people are probably going to disagree with. We have Ellen sitting at T's 1.5. Evelyn's one of those characters I don't think she deserves expert tag. Obviously with Eidolon she gets better, but at M0 without Sig, she probably is performing. And 1.5, nah, I'd probably give her. Are there any get free to play options for attack characters? We have that weapon that we received that has crit on them. What's her best free to play options? So this is the one I was talking about. So it's not horrible. That's not horrible. It can help her build up Anomaly, which is going to help her build up crit damage. So I believe that's what Ice Anomaly does. It gives you like crit damage or something. So yeah, here's the thing. If we're giving them expert tag, so we're saying Piper is better than Ellen at M0. Nah, she deserves to be up. She deserves to move up, but I definitely don't think she deserves expert tag. This character is literally build flash freeze charges, expend them. There isn't more than that unless you give her Eidolons. She's like very brain dead. I'm not gonna lie. I know like people would disagree. I know someone specific who would disagree, but like I labbed this character when she first released, and there isn't anything intricate that matters that's gonna actually improve your DPS. But yeah, maybe in like the Hollow Zero game mode where you can add other moves to her, maybe then, but outside of that, no. I think M6 Ambi being in 1.5 is fine. She's actually kind of like painful to play, I'm not gonna lie. Like as a stunner. At least in like tower. I'm speaking purely in tower. And I know this is Shiyu, but I'm speaking like purely in like tower. But I have used her in Shiyu before. And then we have Haramasa, who moved down a lot. And then he used to be expert with expert 2 arrows means 2 spots. That's what it used to mean. But because they added the +1, the +2, it's hard to say. I think it still counts as 2 for him, so he has T1 performance if you're quick swapping with him, basically. I'm assuming that's what it means. Again, I own the character clearly, but I haven't built him just because I just don't care. And then Soldier 11 moves down. M0 without her weapon, I'll have to take her in Shiyu and see. I know Gib probably disagrees with this low-key. He probably thinks she's at least like T1. I would give her 1.5. I think T2 is a little like aggressive. I would give her at least 1.5, especially because we have characters like Lighter that exist in the game. Because like her best team is probably gonna be Lighter. Yep, I was right. It's gonna be like Lighter and then probably like Astra or something, right? And he's gonna amplify her damage a crap ton. So I would at least give her 1.5, if not like, she kind of deserves the expert tag too, now that I'm looking at it. Because you can get fire suppression if you know what you're doing. You can get it on basic 1, actually. A lot of people don't know that. People think you can only get fire suppression on basic 2, starting basic 2. You can actually get it on basic 1 if you dash attack first. And then just time your attacks. But to be fair, I could see why they don't have it, because you kind of have to attack in like a rhythmic motion, which is slower than just like spamming your attacks or just like using your special, your EX special into basic. So it's a little bit slower. But I don't think she deserves to be T2. That's insane. Is there anyone else I care about? Seth moves down at M6. I know some people probably disagree with that. I would move him up to 1.5 at least in the support role. We don't have that many supports. Ben moves down to the worst character in the game. Very niche. Very, very niche. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not gonna talk about the niche characters. I really just want to talk about this part of the tier list, because this is what I heavily disagreed with, or at least give them the expert tag. And can we stop being lazy and add expert +1 or 2 to distinguish where these characters should be placed? But that's all I got for you guys. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.